President Donald Trump declined to rule out abusing power if he returns to the White House after being asked to respond to growing criticism of his administration and authoritarian rhetoric. The Republican presidential frontrunner has talked about targeting his rivals, referring to them as vermin, and vowed to seek retribution if he wins a second term for what he argues are politically motivated prosecutions against him. He says he will be a dictator only on day one if elected president. From there, we move on to Pakistan, where a lot is happening in the run-up to the general election scheduled for February 8th. American Joker, welcome to the show. Starting with India, and not the country, but its main opposition alliance, the Indian National Developmental and Inclusive Alliance, acronamed I.N.D.I.A. or India. This is an alliance of 28 political parties. The alliance of the national and regional parties came together earlier this year. The aim is to counter Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his Bharatiya Janata Party's bid to secure a third term in power. Given the popularity of Prime Minister Modi and his Bharatiya Janata Party, the India Alliance has an uphill task, especially in North, Central and Western India. But going by the development so far, it's not just Prime Minister Modi's popularity. Most of the problems are within the India Alliance itself. Most importantly, the face of India Alliance to put up a serious fight against Prime Minister Modi next year, the alliance needs to have a consensus on the Prime Minister candidate. Not that India Alliance lacks leaders with mass support. The problem is they have too many. Let's take a look at some of the key leaders in the alliance. Number one is Nitish Kumar, the Chief Minister of the Eastern State of Bihar, heads the regional Janata Dal United Party. It has massed support base in the state and nearby regions. Kumar is seen as the face of development in one of India's poorest states. His policies are also popular among women voters of the state, with a population of over 130 million. The state sends 40 lawmakers to the lower house of Indian Parliament. Nitish Kumar also has experience in the central government, having served as union minister holding different portfolios.
हमको कुछ नहीं चाहिए, हम शुरू से कहते हैं, हम तो चाहते हैं राज्य के हित में है और जो अपना राज्य करे देश के, और समझिए कि जो बदल रहे हैं ये लोग अभी जिनको पावर में है, पूरा का पूरा इतिहास सब कुछ बदल रहे हैं, तो हम तो चाहते हैं सब एकजुट हो करके, और जो आज़ादी की लड़ाई लड़ी गई उसको कोई भूले नहीं, नई पीढ़ी के लोगों को याद रखें.
Next up is Mamata Banerjee, the Chief Minister of India's eastern state of West Bengal. For much of the last 2 decades, like Nitish Kumar, she has also held important portfolios in the central cabinet, but despite the popularity of her regional Trinamool Congress party in her state, she could not prevent the BJP from making inroads in West Bengal in 2019. The BJP won 18 out of the 42 seats in the state. The third big leader is M.K. Stalin, again a current chief minister. He heads the government of the southern Indian state of Tamil Nadu. His regional DMK party is a close ally of the Indian National Congress. Stalin's party has never challenged the National Party's place in national politics and is an important vote getter, especially in his state. Next up, we have Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal. He heads a national party called the I.N.D.I.A party. The party has governments in Delhi and the state of Punjab. While Kejriwal is popular in Delhi, in 2019, his party lost all 7 Lok Sabha seats from New Delhi to the BJP. Kejriwal has been trying to place himself as the principal challenger of the Prime Minister, fighting the 2014 elections from Prime Minister Modi's Lok Sabha constituency, Varanasi. Kejriwal ended up coming a distant second in the race. Apart from these four, we have other regional leaders like the Shiv Sena's Uddhav Thackeray, NCP's Sharad Pawar, RJD's Lalu Yadav, Samajwadi Party's Akhilesh Yadav, and others. And the final contender is the Indian National Congress. The party sees itself as the main challenger to the BJP at the national level. It had fielded Rahul Gandhi as its face for Prime Minister position twice in 2014 and 2019 and suffered embarrassing defeats both times. Still, Gandhi remains the party's most visible face. However, after his party's poor performance in the state elections held last month, the party's positioning as the leader of India's opposition has taken a big hit. It has given more space to regional parties to push for their own leaders as the Prime Minister candidate. Apart from the Prime Minister's face, the alliance has other challenges. Less than 5 months before the polls, they are yet to decide on a seat-sharing formula, let alone an agreement on a common minimum program for the people. Now that you know the face of the Indian opposition alliance, will they be able to steer their ship towards victory in 2024, or telltale signs of the leaks in the ship are what to expect in the general elections? Let's find out. Aditi Fadnis is a senior journalist and contributing editor, Business Standard. Aditi is joining us live from New Delhi. Aditi, welcome to Race to Power.
Thank you.
When you hear this statement, what goes through your mind? India alliance faces uncertain future as Congress loses bargaining leverage.
I'm a very old person and I've been covering politics for a long time. Very little surprises me now. But we should remember that in 2004, when the Congress was faced with a similar situation, there was no face, there was no leader, the opposition was badly divided and decimated. Sonia Gandhi did emerge as the cementing force in bringing all the parties together. Mm-hmm. And after that, the Congress did come. After a coalition, the Congress did form a government, not once but twice, in 2004 and in 2009. So we have to keep our mind open to what people are thinking, what their complaints are, what their expectations are. I have no doubt at all in my mind that Prime Minister Modi continues to be wildly popular and will probably win the next Lok Sabha election and become Prime Minister again. All the signals are there. Right. But we should not expect that the opposition will sit back and twiddle its thumbs and do nothing at all. Mm-hmm. So I would say give it time.
Give it time. Let's talk more about that, because there are so many people who have mixed opinions about that. And despite the BJP winning the assembly polls, critics also say that the battle in the south and states like Bihar may prove to be tough for the ruling party. The same critics say that if parties like RJD and the JDU remain united under the alliance, they may change the tide. What do you make of that statement?
I am very doubtful if they will change the tide because the BJP's performance in the Lok Sabha election last time was also pretty good in the states that we are talking about, barring the South Indian states. The South Indian states are not enough to tilt the balance against the BJP. Mm-hmm. So the only choice is for the opposition parties to get together in the heartland states like Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan and so on. Mm-hmm. There I fear that there will be probably local level alliances, local level arrangements, but the face that we are looking for, I don't see that emerging at all. Not in the least after this assembly debacle.
All right, my final question to you, and please make your response as brief as possible. We've talked about the Prime Minister. Many argue that it is Modi's charm that is working to the advantage of BJP. Do you think even the so-called opposition strongholds will be swayed by this charisma before the next general elections?
It's hard to tell the future, but I think the BJP has reached the pinnacle of its achievement. There is only minor achievements left, and in areas where they have not reported favorable results, it's very hard to build up the party organization in those areas.
All right, I've been talking to Aditi Fadnis, who's a senior journalist and also contributing editor, Business Standard. Aditi, thank you very much for talking to us today.
Thank you.
Moving on to another important development from India, where the lower house of the Indian Parliament passed two crucial bills. The legislations that were brought by Home Minister Amit Shah are aimed at amending key laws in the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir.
मुझे एक बात का आनंद भी है और हमारी संसदीय प्रणालिका के लिए अच्छा भी है कि किसी ने इस बिल के तत्व का विरोध नहीं किया है.
The bills make key changes in the region's legislative apparatus. First, by increasing the number of seats in the Jammu and Kashmir Legislative Assembly from 83 to 90. 7 of these will be reserved for scheduled caste members and 9 for legislators from scheduled tribes. Further, the Lieutenant Governor of the state has been empowered to nominate up to 2 members from the Kashmiri migrant community to the Legislative Assembly, with 1 nominee being a woman. Additionally, 1 nominated member will represent displaced persons from Pakistan-occupied Kashmir in the Assembly.
जिन्हों को अन्याय हुआ है, जो अपमानित हुए और जिनकी अनदेखी की गई है, वो सभी लोगों को न्याय दिलाने का बिल है, उनको अधिकार दिलाने का.
The bills also extend reservation in public sector jobs and educational institutions in the territory. Members of scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, and socially and educationally backward classes will now be able to avail reservation when the law takes effect. The special status of the erstwhile state of Jammu and Kashmir was scrapped in 2019. Since then, the state has been bifurcated into 2 union territories, with the UT of Jammu and Kashmir being one with the Legislative Assembly. However, elections to the Assembly have not been conducted even after 4 years. The new bills will pave the way for the elections to be conducted soon. Let's now shift our focus to the United States, where Republican frontrunner Donald Trump waded into yet another controversy. Could a second Donald Trump presidency slide into dictatorship? This is the question Americans are asking less than a year before the polls. Trump has responded to these speculations in his typical fashion. At a televised event in Iowa, he laughed off the matter while declining to rule out abuse of power if he wins the presidency again.
Under no circumstances, you are promising America tonight, you would never abuse power as retribution against anybody.
Except for day one.
Except
Look,
for?
he's going crazy. Except for day one.
Meaning?
I want to close the border and I want to drill.
That's
drill,
not that's
drill.
That's not.
No, no.
That's not retribution. I got.
I'm gonna be. You know, he keeps. We love this guy. He says, "You're not going to be a dictator, are you?" I said, "No, no, no. Other than day one, we're closing the border and we're drilling. After that, I'm not a dictator."
Apart from American media outlets, including the Washington Post, the New York Times, and The Atlantic, concerns have also been voiced by top Republican Trump critic Liz Cheney. Her opposition to the former president has made her an outcast in the party. Cheney says the country is sleepwalking into dictatorship. and that she is weighing a third-party presidential run of her own to stop Trump. According to her, there is no question that Trump would try to stay in office beyond 2028. President Joe Biden is using these warnings to back his own claims of being a defender of democracy. During a campaign event in Massachusetts, the 81-year-old Democrat said he's not sure he'd be running for presidency if Trump wasn't. But that's out of the question because he cannot let him win.
Would you be running for president if Trump wasn't running?
I expect so, but look, he is running, and I have to run.
Would you drop out if Trump was out?
No, not now.
Biden also cited Trump's language on the campaign trail, saying his description of his opponents as vermin echoed the language used in Nazi Germany. Among other incidents termed as use of violent language, Trump has said that migrants are poisoning the blood of the country. In recent months, Trump has also suggested that his former military chief should face death for treason. For his critics, Trump's autocratic side has long been in plain sight. Remember, he's already facing trial for conspiracy to overturn the 2020 election result. Prosecutors said on Tuesday that evidence shows Trump was determined to remain in power at any cost. Moving on to Pakistan, where the political landscape is heating up as the long-awaited elections come closer. We told you how, after months of back and forth, the ECP finally got the funds to hold the February 8th elections. The delay comes in the backdrop of the uncertainties that have dogged the national election. This has in turn prompted speculations of a further delay in the elections. However, the Election Commission of Pakistan has now come out with a rather unique statement. The poor body says that it will approach the nation's electronic media regulator to shut down any debate about a potential delay in elections in the country. The move comes amid rumors that elections could perhaps be delayed under the pretext of security or Nawaz Sharif not having enough time to prepare for the elections. The electronic media regulator has also issued a directive asking the media to not air the statements of convicts. Meanwhile, leaders of Imran Khan's PTI party continue to be booked for cases. 8 more PTI leaders were issued non-bailable warrants. An anti-terrorism court issued non-bailable arrest in connection with the May 9th violent protests. The court said the leaders failed to attend the legal proceedings. Riots erupted nationwide following the arrest of former Prime Minister Imran Khan in May this year. This led to unrest in which several PTI leaders were booked. The intense pressure on PTI leaders forced many to quit Imran Khan's camp or politics altogether. Let's move to Portugal, where the leading prime ministerial contender, Luís Montenegro, is hoping his promise of tax cuts for the middle class will win enough votes for his Social Democratic Party to secure a majority in the March elections. Montenegro said his proposed reduction of the record tax burden should rekindle slowing economic growth. He also criticized the socialist administration for increasing the direct and indirect tax burden and failing to provide sufficient investment in public services such as healthcare. Montenegro said that shifting tax brackets would relieve the middle class from the tax flogging that is currently suffering.
O nosso objetivo é baixar 6 pontos percentuais à razão de 2 pontos por ano, nos próximos 3 anos. Portanto, estamos a falar de 2024, passar, era a proposta que nós tínhamos apresentado em sede de orçamento, para 19, 2025, 17, 2026, 15% e estabilizar aí. Que é uma taxa que, do nosso ponto de vista, é comportável com a saúde financeira do Estado português e é, sobretudo, adequada à captação e atração de investimento.
Montenegro also hoped that a series of scandals that involved the long-running socialist government will strengthen his prospects. The rival party is yet to elect a new leader after Premier Antonio Costa resigned. Most opinion polls put the Social Democratic Party neck and neck with the Socialist Party. But Montenegro has ruled out any form of alliance with the far-right Chega party.
I only have one word. I will not make any agreement with the right-far party Chega. I'm very clear. I only assume the government with victory in the next election, and I'm fighting for absolute majority. In my opinion, it will be possible, and if we will not absolute majority in the parliament, of course, the only way for the opposition is reject the government program.
Montenegro says that they are set on having a great victory on March 10th, adding that he also has ways to govern without an absolute majority based on parties other than Shega. But analysts fear a post-election quagmire as they doubt he can clinch a working parliamentary majority without support from the Shega party. It's now time for the election wrap, where we bring you all the other important headlines from across the globe. 10 members of parliament belonging to the Bharatiya Janata Party resigned from office. Their resignations follow their victories in the state assembly elections. The list of members of parliament includes union ministers Narendra Singh Tomar and Prahlad Patel. The resignations are procedural, as the Indian constitution does not allow an individual to function both as a member of parliament and the legislative assembly of a state. Russia's upper house of parliament will vote on a proposal to hold the next presidential election on March 17th. The announcement of the election date is a formality. It will clear the way for an announcement by President Vladimir Putin that he will run for another 6-year term. The 71-year-old has been in power as president or prime minister since the last day of 1999. Currently, Putin has no serious rival to challenge him in the election. And that's Race to Power today. Thank you very much for your time and for watching. Do stay with us. I'm Eric Njoka. This is WION The World is One.
From the botched coup attempt in Sierra
Israel woke up to a barrage of thousands of rockets fired from the Gaza Strip.
Hostilities have broken out between Israel and Palestine, and the tensions that had been gathering steam over the course of the last several weeks and months.
The
siren has gone off. I don't know if you can hear in the background what's going on. I'm going into the shelter now. So it's a very, very serious situation here across Israel. It's a state of emergency.
The United States stands with Israel.
Well, we are starting this broadcast with a developing story from West Asia, where Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant says Hamas has launched a war against the state of Israel.
It's easy to tell you a flat story. It's easy to show you what's happening around the world. We do the difficult part.
This weapon has been banned, but the US, Ukraine and Russia do not find the bombs problematic.
We also tell you why what's happening.
New drug is making a difference in the fight against Alzheimer's. This medicine helps slow down a patient's cognitive decline.
We look beyond the text. We give you context.
Is China preparing for a war in the Himalayas? And tonight, we come to you with some proof.
Hypocrisy is stunning.
Do leaders mean what they say? Do they ever say what they mean? To find out how real news affects you, your decisions.
Just when Iran took one step in the right direction, its moral police is planning to drag it further back. And once again, the victim will be women.
Watch Gravitas.
Welcome and thanks for tuning in.
We don't impose our views.
Did India threaten to ban Twitter? Either that or Jack Dorsey is lying to you.
That is Gravitas. We let life breathe through our show. Gravitas.